Elaine Pagels, Why Religion, A Personal Story. Dive into the profound tale of Elaine Pagels' spiritual journey in the book's summary of Why Religion, A Personal Story. From her experience being born again in her teenage years to her pursuit of understanding religious texts and exploring their deeper significance, this summary uncovers the notable themes, events, and crucial moments in Elaine's life. The summary will provide you with insights into encounters with fiercely contrasting worldviews, her struggle to find hope and healing amidst grief, and how she continually reinvents her understanding of religion and God.
Finding freedom through religion. Elaine Pagels' journey towards finding emotional freedom and unconditional love through religion. At 15 years old, Elaine Pagels attended a sermon by the evangelical preacher Billy Graham out of curiosity. Despite being raised in a family that valued rationalism and suppressed emotions, she was moved by Graham's invitation to religious rebirth and decided to become a born-again Christian. For Elaine, this meant freeing herself from her earthly father and adopting a heavenly father who loved her unconditionally. However, her parents' reactions were far from supportive, and her father's rage simmered beneath his calm exterior. Elaine's decision brought her emotional freedom and a newfound expression of love, but it also separated her from her family. Her story showcases the power of beliefs to change lives and how important it is to find one's path to happiness and peace. Elaine's journey is a reminder of how religion can provide an escape from the past and a chance to reframe one's life. Coping with death, losing faith, finding religion. Elaine finds solace in artistic friends after her Christian community shuns her for not believing her deceased friend went to hell. Paul's death profoundly affects Elaine's beliefs, leading her away from biblical teachings but towards a broader sense of religion that values imagination and creativity as coping mechanisms. The revelation of the Nag Hammadi library. A chance discovery in an Egyptian village unveiled the secret words of the living Jesus and the twin, Judas Thomas. The Nag Hammadi library provided an array of previously unknown texts and offered a Gnostic approach that intrigued Elaine, a student of religion. Although Orthodox Christians denounced the offering of Gnosis as heretical, Elaine's work of reading and translating these books established her reputation as an incisive and brilliant religious scholar through her book, The Gnostic Gospels. The power of rituals. Elaine, a woman struggling to conceive, participates in a ritual with her friends, including artist Mary Beth Edelson. During the ceremony, she confronts her fear of dying during childbirth and discovers she was pregnant less than a month later. However, her son Mark is born with a heart condition, but luckily there is a surgical method available to fix it. The first year of Mark's life is joyous but overshadowed by the looming question of his survival during the operation. A surprising turn of events. Elaine's experience before and after Mark's successful surgery leads her to believe in the power of prayer and the unexpected ways life can unfold. The night before Mark's surgery, Elaine defies orders to spend the night in his hospital room but gets little rest. She experiences a vision of a group of women praying and feels comforted. Then, a dark, male figure appears and threatens Mark's life. Elaine stands her ground and cries out to Jesus, and the figure disappears. She is then sure the surgery will be a success, and it is. Days later, Elaine receives a note from a colleague who reveals that she and her sister circle had indeed prayed for Mark, Elaine, and Heinz, confirming Elaine's experience. She also receives an unexpected gift of a MacArthur Fellowship, which would support her for the next 5 years, a relief since she had just expressed her desire to step away from work. Elaine's experiences lead her to believe in the power of prayer and the unexpected ways life can unfold. Despite the tragedy of Mark's shortened life, the gift of the fellowship allowed Elaine to spend precious time with him. Fighting the inevitable. A family's determination to make the most of a terminally ill son's remaining years is recounted in this emotional story. Mark, who had pulmonary hypertension, was surrounded by love and normality, with his parents refusing to treat him like a fragile child. His passing was hard, but his words and spirit remain inspiring to those who knew him. Overcoming guilt and embracing chaos. After the death of her son, Elaine was consumed by guilt and struggled to find answers. Turning to biblical stories, she realized her feelings of guilt were a way of holding on to the belief that bad things only happen to those who deserve it. She began to adopt her husband's view of chaos theory and live in a world where things happen at random. However, her decision to embrace chaos would soon be tested. Tragedy strikes a family. Elaine and Heinz were closer than ever after the loss of their son Mark, and still decided to adopt 2 children. On a summer trip to Colorado, Heinz falls to his death while hiking with a friend, leaving Elaine to grieve once more. His body is found in pieces, and Elaine is left with an overwhelming darkness, haunted by a vision of his fall. Finding hope in unfortunate circumstances. Elaine finds solace in Mark's gospel after her husband's death and reflects on the message of hope it carries despite tragic events. After the tragic death of her husband, Heinz, Elaine turned to biblical stories for comfort, particularly Mark's gospel. The story begins with good news of Jesus as the Messiah, but quickly turns tragic as he is captured, tortured, and unjustly executed. The story ends with his female followers finding his body missing. Elaine couldn't understand how such a story could be considered good news. However, upon reflection, she realized that Mark's gospel is not just about tragedy, but also about hope. The story suggests that God's victory is coming, even if it's not within the narrative frame of the story. Elaine found solace in this message, knowing that although her husband's death was a tragic end, there might be something hopeful yet to come. She also reflected on the fact that sometimes our own expectations can prevent us from seeing the hope in a situation, as one of Mark's early readers had written a more upbeat ending to the story in an attempt to brighten the message. In the end, Elaine's reflection on Mark's gospel gave her hope and comfort during her time of grief, reminding her that even in tragic circumstances, there can be a glimmer of light and a possibility of something better to come. Healing through loss. Elaine, after receiving an honorary degree from Harvard, reflects on how she has passed life's true test, surviving unbearable loss. She credits her engagement with religious texts, particularly the Nag Hammadi library, as the means to healing her soul. The library's texts offer various medicines for different ailments, from rejoicing in the divine to exploring the mystery of sexual intercourse. Elaine finds comfort in knowing that others have sought these same medicines throughout history. Ultimately, Elaine realizes that despite the pain of loss, the heart can heal.
Elaine Pagels' Why Religion? A Personal Story takes us along her captivating spiritual quest, weaving together major life events and her evolving relationship with religion. From being a born-again, under the influence of Billy Graham, to losing both her son and husband, her personal pain and search for solace provide a window into the power of religion as a form of healing. Delving deep into the esoteric realms of religious texts and our human desire for spiritual connection, this book summary demonstrates how Elaine emerged with a heart able to heal. Though her life encounters seemingly insurmountable loss, she continues to engage with religion and find solace in her pursuit of understanding the mysteries of the self and the universe.